You know, one thing kind of occurred to me. I think that scene would have worked if they had the Staying Alive song in it. I know. Being nerdy, I know. But someone who's always loved old classical music, I can't help it if it had 50s, 60s music in it while he was dancing. That would have been so funny. I think that would have made the scene a whole lot funnier. Even though Emo Peter is funny. Even though Staying Alive, I think, came out in the 70s and 80s. Again, I've always loved that 50s, 60s music. Since I grew up very differently.
So now that Peter is dressed like a Men in Black reject, he takes Gwen to a nightclub on a date. Yeah, they kind of cut out the whole Peter asking Gwen out thing. Proves how unimportant her character is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You are really gonna dig this joint.
What?
Peter, you're not black. No white guy should ever be allowed to say you're going to dig this joint. Let alone you. Okay, you tell you what, I'll let it slide. Let's just pray he doesn't say anything like that again.
Oh,
Some shade.
no, it's this scene.
Thanks, Hot Mix.
Oh, I think that line just gave me cancer. Well, speaking of things that'll leave you in intensive care.
Peter?
Peter, what are you doing?
This is... No. Please. Oh,
Please stop that.
please stop, Peter. Please
Stop.
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 This
Stop.
is just beyond. This is just beyond too far. Come on.
God, could you get any lamer?
Now dig on this.
Oh, God, no.
Hold it! What the hell is that shit?
Oh, that is disgusting.
Thank you, Mr. Potato Head.
It's a little thing called the script, MJ. The baby we once knew is gone. So in quite possibly the quickest shift of tone I've ever seen in a movie, Peter gets into a fight with the bouncers and ends up hitting MJ. Devastated by what he's just done, he decides to change into his Spidey outfit, climb up on the roof of a church, and film his obligatory shot for the trailer. Okay, well, once Peter's
Yeah,
doing
the
this,
pacing
Eddie
is-
coincidentally
it's
enters the
really
same
rough.
church to pray.
I come before you today to ask you for one
This
thing.
scene. Here it comes.
I want you to kill Peter Parker.
Okay.
Alright, but in all seriousness, Eddie, there's two things you don't understand.
There's a difference
Firstly,
between
there's a
praying
difference between praying
and wishing.
and wishing.
Yeah.
Secondly, even if you could make personal requests
God
to
doesn't
God,
kill people.
you can't
Yeah.
ask him to kill someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do your own dirty work.
Words
Yeah,
to live
thank
by.
you,
So Peter's had
sentence
enough of
guy,
being
or-
emo as he
I don't
rips
know.
off his black Spider-Man suit only for the symbiote to make its way onto Eddie as he transforms into Venom at the 1 hour and 44 minute mark.
Yeah, but like I said,
Yeah, I
the
can understand
pacing,
why
they're
fans
just
were pissed
rushing
off
it
about
in.
this.
They
So
just
Venom
rush it in
heads out
just
as
to
we quickly see him here
have
with the
less
Sandman. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Flynn just miraculously survived his encounter with Spider-Man. Seriously, how do you kill this guy? He's like the sand version of the T-1000. He seems invincible. Well, anyway, Flynn and Eddie devise a plan to bait Spider-Man by kidnapping MJ. Real original, guys. So Peter goes to Harry for help, and he's
For the
right to
third
tell the
movie in a
fuck
row.
off.
If I may, sir,
Oh, this stupid scene.
seen
Oh,
things in
I
this
remember
house.
this stupid scene.
I've never spoken of.
Like that incident with the cup and those two girls.
The night your father died, I cleaned his wound. The blade that pierced his body came from his glider.
And you chose to only tell Harry this now.
Why would you tell him only now?
Because I wanted to fuck with him. Well, yeah, that's the only reason I can come up with. So yeah, we have the common
Yeah,
complaint
just
here
forget
that
it.
such a
This
minor
movie's
character is
already
revealing such a big plot
cluttered enough.
onto one of the main characters. And I agree, this is practically the definition of a Deus Ex Machina. Kind of
Yeah,
sad
this is
that
just
this is
a
what this
rush.
actor John
Character-
Paxton is most
character
famous
arcs
for.
like work.
You know that's Bill Paxton's dad playing,
There's no
don't it?
build-up.
Oh well, he'll have been alright. Just take a look at what his son had to say in a movie once.
I got a little dick. It's pathetic.
What?
If his ego could recover after that, I'm sure his dad will have been fine. So we cut back to Peter as he arrives in all fuck yeah American glory to save MJ. And now rise for the American national anthem.
America. Heck yeah!
Hey, Parker.
My God,
that
Eddie.
makeup.
Ooh, my spider sense is
And
tingling.
he has really cheesy arms.
If you know what I'm talking about.
He's talking about his penis. So Spidey and Venom finally do get out.
Christ.
Oh, this is
This
looking
movie,
more like it is the fan fiction, actually.
Do you remember? Do you remember what you did to me?
So as Venom is just talking, something happens. Something that we as a human race thought could never see come to fruition. Mary Jane actually does something. Just to think, if there was another trilogy of Sam Raimi films, she'd have been able to go throughout the whole series and only need saving 5 times. Oh well. But Peter can't take the both of them on, and has become subject to a game of Whack-A-Spider. But lucky for him, Harry's viewpoint on Peter has totally changed in a matter of about 2 minutes.
Oh.
So Harry and Pete take on Sandman and
This
Venom
is a
together
really
in a
cool
thrilling
fight scene.
finale.
The fight scenes in
Harry
this movie
manages
are
to
still
take down
really
the Sandman
cool
with a couple of
and
well-placed
well-directed.
missiles, which actually begs the question, why didn't he just use those to begin with? As Venom traps
Yeah.
Peter, again, Harry attempts to rescue only to get knocked off his board.
I
Venom then
didn't have
uses
a
Harry's
stupid
board and
moment.
moves in for the kill, so Harry, instead of just knocking Venom out of the way, chooses instead to awkwardly place himself in front of the blade.
Oh, it's not so bad.
Why, Harry? Why?
I
There
was
are so
wrong.
many alternatives to this problem that could have been resolved.
Fucking hell! He could cause nuclear explosions with that voice.
Jesus.
Still got the moves.
Anyway, what the hell was Harry thinking?
Yeah, exactly, that's
Earlier
what
in the
I'm
movie, we
saying.
found out that the board was coded to Harry's suit. In case he ever got separated from his board, he was able to bring it to himself. Why didn't he just do that? The
Yeah.
board would fly out of
Or
Venom's
no
hands,
Venom out
leaving
the
him without
way.
a
Yeah,
weapon.
there were so many
Simple.
alternatives to resolve the
Seriously,
problem.
I've never seen a character so pointlessly die before. If you're gonna
Yeah,
have that a
so-
character sacrifices himself for
so-
a friend, you've got to make it a last resort decision. You've got to make it so that the
Exactly, there
character
are
is
so
literally
many
left two
alternatives
and
to how this
only
problem
two
would have been
choices:
resolved.
sacrifice yourself to save your friend, or let the fucker die. If
And
there's
this
a plot
wasn't an
hole in
extreme
such a pivotal
circumstance.
point in a film, you're immediately going to be pulled out of the movie. And
Yeah,
any
it
emotional
dissolves
impact
all
the film was
tension.
striving for would be lost. Fantastic, Raimi. A character that I've known for 3 whole movies dies and I don't even feel anything. How is that even possible? But hey, talking about characters that die pointlessly, Peter manages to pull Eddie out of the symbiote, only for Eddie to jump right back in when Peter throws in a pumpkin bomb.
For no reason, he goes back in and he gets blown up. Jesus Christ.
What's with all these characters committing suicide?
Yeah.
In fact, have you ever noticed all Spider-Man villains that do die end up killing themselves? Yeah, I'm not making that shit up. That Robert Peter was after tripped and killed himself. Green Goblin got impaled
Yeah, majority
by his
of the
own
villains
glider.
did get
Doc
killed
Ock
throughout
pulled down
the
the
3
submachine and ended up
movies.
drowning himself in the
Yeah.
process. And then you got these two bozos. Damn,
Yeah.
forget about Electro needing a source of electricity in the new film. What he needs is the
not
number for the
giving
fucking suicide
Spider-Man
hotline.
movies.
Everybody needs help sometimes, Peter.
My daughter was dying. I needed money.
Oh, this scene
So
is
yeah,
really
Flynn tells
emotional.
Peter what
though.
happened on the night of Uncle Ben's death, and Harry was involved.
Then I saw my partner running over with the cash. And the gun was in my hand.
Oh, come on, Peter. Nobody has a trigger finger that itchy. He's obviously lying to cover his ass. Just 5 minutes ago, he was trying to kill you. You're surely not going to forgive him, are you?
I forgive you.
Oh, you goddamn powerless spider spunk! What? And now you're letting him go? He hasn't even cured his daughter yet. He's just gonna go rob some more fucking banks. He doesn't know how else
Exactly,
to get
and
the
this
money.
plotline doesn't get
Spidey,
resolved.
the police are going to arrest you for aiding and abetting. No wonder there's no Spider-Man 4. Your ass is behind bars.
Don't drop the soap, big homie.
Yeah, Spidey's sense is going to be tingling a lot more than usual now, isn't it?
That's disgusting.
And yeah, whilst Peter was having a natter with Flint, guess who's bleeding out and dying? Yeah, kind of forgot for a second there, didn't you?
Hey, pal. How you doing?
I'm dying, you fool!
And yeah, instead of trying to get into a hospital to see if they can save him, he just dies. Then Peter blubbers like a little baby, thus causing everyone in the audience to laugh.
Yeah, there's no dramatic
Hey,
way to
MJ,
this scene.
I just realised something. What? Harry was rich, right? Yeah. And we're his best friends, right? Yeah. Holy shit, we're in his will, MJ, we're rich! So yeah, for a film as stupid as Spider-Man 3, the ending's a bit of a downer. This is the second Spider-Man film that ends with a
Sums up the
funeral, and then Pete and
disappointment
MJ
this
meet up in
movie
the
gave
jazz
us.
club. They have a bittersweet hug, and that's it, the end. I think my version would have probably gone a little bit more like this. Sorry, MJ. I've got some bad news. We were in the will. All Harry left us was a pumpkin bomb and a packet of Monster Munch. But who did the estate go to? The fucking butler. So there's Spider-Man 3. Now, in hindsight, I have to say that this is probably the weakest film out of the three. But I
Yeah,
only say that because
definitely.
I've spent so much time analysing it. Because on first viewing, I remember watching this movie in the cinema, and I was glued to my seat. I remember not wanting the movie to end. That's how much I enjoyed it. By far the best aspect of this film is the action. Spidey 3
Yeah.
really took it to the next level. The CGI got better, and the fact there were 3 villains made each action scene feel very distinctive. Now the downside, of course, with having so many villains, is that the film feels quite cluttered. 2 villains I think would have sufficed. And whilst I thought Thomas Hayden Church was great as the Sandman, I don't think he was needed. His story arc feels quite separate from what was going on because he didn't really relate at all to the main characters. He was just some guy. He didn't know Peter Parker. All he knew was Spider-Man. His introduction scene just pops out of nowhere, and the way he was written in to relate to
Yeah.
Peter meant rewriting what was set in stone in the first movie. We do get some character motivation with him because of his sick daughter, but this is never resolved. We never see Flint get enough
Yeah.
money to cure her. By the end of the movie, Spidey forgives him, he fucks off and probably goes off to steal more money from some more banks. His story just felt incomplete because more time had to be spent on other characters, hence why it would have been better to save him for another movie. And then we have quite a big problem with the script. Many characters do
Ooh,
things that
yeah.
don't make sense, some of the dialogue is horrendous, and half the time the film feels more like a parody of a Spider-Man movie than a legitimate one. Now I'm not saying it's bad to be a stupid movie, but the film tries to be serious as well. You've got dumb scene, followed by emotional scene, followed by comedic scene, followed by serious scene, and usually all in quite a small time lapse. The film has practically no tonal consistency. I think that's Spider-Man 3's major problem. It tried to cram in too many characters, too many plot lines, and too many jokes, and as a result the film ended up feeling like a jumbled mess. It's almost like they got different directors to film different scenes. It's quite jarring at times. But I think what I hated most about this movie wasn't Emo Peter, it wasn't the stupid dialogue, but it was the relationship between Peter and MJ. We
Yeah.
spent 2 whole movies of them trying to get together.
They really
and at the end of the second
ruined it in
film,
this
they
movie.
do. But they break up before the halfway mark in this one. Also, Gwen could get with Pete for a bit. And yeah, Gwen is another character that just didn't need to be here. And I would still say that even if I did like her character, which I don't. Gwen is just another damsel in distress with no dimension or anything likeable about her. In fact, have you ever noticed that all 3 major female characters have needed to be said at least once in this trilogy? It's kinda sad, really. It's one of the things I like so much about The Amazing Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have so much more chemistry together in Mark Webb's version than Tobey Maguire and
I
Kirsten
don't know
Dunst did in the
about
Raimi
that.
trilogy.
I don't know.
Not to mention Gwen in the new film was just all around more competent. She was smart and really knew how to get herself out of a sticky situation without having to rely on Spider-Man to save her. MJ, on the other hand... was just plain annoying. But that's not to say Spider-Man 3 is
Yeah.
all bad. It does have things going for it other than the action scenes. Rosemary Harris's Aunt May is and always has been brilliant, for example. I don't think I've given her enough credit yet. She's so likeable and caring, and to me, she is Aunt May. J.K. Simmons is also fantastic once again, though he doesn't get as much to do here. But I love the scene where Miss Brandt reminds him to take his pills. I think this scene is hilarious. And I know a lot of you are going to kill me, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy Emo Pete strut his stuff down the street.
Yeah, me too. I enjoyed
It's just one
that
of those
scene.
things you
It's
just
really
have to laugh at. Though I draw the line at the dance scene. This was
Yeah,
a step too far.
that was
The
too
film
far, though.
had its goofy moment. It didn't need a second. And to many, this scene was just insult to injury. This scene alone practically ruined the film for many, and I can see why. I think someone should edit Spider-Man 3 and get rid of this scene. I actually know just the guy for the job. Topher Grace.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the guy who played as Venom in this film did a special edit for the Star Wars prequels, which he apparently got a lot of praise for. I think a Spidey 3 edit would be a pretty good
Wow.
project for him. If he did that, I'd be the first in line to see it. But yeah, as is, Spider-Man 3 is seriously flawed. There's too many plot threads, it gets a little too stupid in places, and the script needed a lot of work. But look at it with popcorn in one hand, beer in the other, and brain switched off completely, and you might find something special. I'm the unusual suspect, and I can't think of a way to end this review, so Spider-Man Dance Part.
Just like five. Look out! I'm the Spider-Man. Okay, that's the end of the video. So yeah, that was Spider-Man 3. One of the biggest disappointments, one of the biggest disappointments in cinema, but again, I don't think it's a bad movie. I mean, there was just so many problems with this movie from the messy bloated script to the unresolved plot lines to how the characters were acted. And I mean written, it's just made Spider-Man 3 a letdown. What should have been an inner turmoil between a man and his inner fighting with his inner demons inside. But instead, Sony just interfered and just got their hands in the pot way too much. Way too much. But in my opinion, it still has good qualities in it. It still feels like a movie. Despite Peter being out of personality, he still is pretty relatable. And there still are action scenes that thrill you, and it still felt like a sense of progression for Peter Parker. Unlike the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which I find both of them really bad, as I said. Oh boy, that's gonna be a rough one when I get to those videos. Trust me. So yeah, if you like my video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Send requests of more videos you want to do for my YouTube channel. Again, I have a lot of plans coming up for my YouTube channel, including teaching you all mathematical principles for those who are just entering the technical or scientific field. And I hope you enjoy those videos that will be coming up very soon. My next reaction video will be the Amazing Spider-Man movies. That's gonna be a really rough one, along with the sequel. But I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.